Okay. Um, so today I wanted to segue a little bit and really talk about the path to healing. Sorry. Okay. So one of the reasons I want to talk about this is I remember when I first started this process. There was a day I was on Facebook just wasting time, like most of us do. Many of us do. I don't know, not judging you. And a video came on. I don't know who put it up, and it was of this guy. He's overweight, he's depressed, he's got heart conditions, he's got high blood pressure, and he decides he's going to change his life. He's going to do one of these healing journeys. And he ends up getting a dog. And you see him in the beginning, like he talks about, he walked the dog, and he could only walk him for a little while, and only walk him for 10 minutes, and then he would get winded. But then slowly he would build it up and build it up. And in the video, it's a smooth progression, right? They show this guy like walking, and he's walking further, and it shows a little tick of the miles. He's walked like 2 miles, and now he starts running, and then like by the end, he's like, fit, he's happy, he's doing great, loves his dog, happy, smiling guy. And I was enraged. I was enraged because I was in a point in my journey where I didn't feel like I was getting anywhere. And this journey shows this smooth progression. And quite often, in many examples that I've seen on the internet, the healing journey is this. It's just this constant state of do, always improving, always improving. And it's bullshit. It's complete bullshit. The healing journey does not happen like that, especially if you've been dealing with this shit since childhood and on, and it's manifested not just mentally, but in many physical disorders, as we've already touched on and we'll touch on further at different points. It is a very hard process, and within it there are constant periods of wanting to give up, and in the beginning it's almost at its worst. I remember when I first came across my repressed memories, the desire to end my life was almost overwhelming at that time. So much so that I remember seeing patients who had been dying. One was a particular cancer patient. I remember envying them completely, really wishing I could be them, that I had the right to just check out. And then as I went further along in the process, I felt like I was always making the smallest of changes. So incremental that it felt like I was getting nowhere whatsoever. It was very disheartening, and there were many times it felt like giving up would be easier. And honestly, if it wasn't for having a family that I had to take care of, there were periods I might have. When you're in this process, it's like that. And there's going to be periods where suddenly you make these dramatic changes. And those are almost feel worse because you'll do that and then all of a sudden you'll hit a wall where you don't make changes. It almost seems like you're going backwards. But that's still change, but it doesn't feel like it. You're going to feel like giving up at those points. There's many points you're going to feel like giving up. And that's okay. It's okay to feel like that, but you push through those. And I can tell you, you can push through, and you'll suddenly see once you get some distance that even that time that felt like it was sinking down was part of the change. Usually, those worst periods precede the bigger changes. It was an interesting discussion I once saw, but some rabbi was talking about it, the idea that when a lobster molts, there's a period where the shell becomes so uncomfortable and painful, and the lobster goes and sits still and hides until the molt happens, right? It's because those periods are the period of change, and you have to follow through with those to create the change, but accepting the fact that those periods may be horrible experiences and you'll want to give up in that. But I'm telling you right now, don't push through it. Push through it and be okay with the fact that you're going to feel like giving up. If you want, my email will be down at the bottom, so you can always reach out. I'll try to talk you through whatever I can, or talk to a therapist, talk to a family member, talk to whoever you can, talk to a priest, talk to a rabbi, talk to a bartender. I don't give a shit. Talk to somebody and push through it. But be okay with the fact that your healing process is not going to be smooth, and that's okay. That's how it's supposed to be. And I know as part of this process, we'll often feel like I'm the only one. I'm the one who's not going to get better. I'm the one. But you can. And it doesn't have to be this kind of half-assed version of getting better where you're always struggling, always trying, always hoping to feel better. You'll feel better. You'll feel amazingly better. And there's going to be a period where you can step back and look at your life and be like, I pushed through it and I'm on top. I'm great. My life isn't just okay. It's not just the absence of things sucking. It's really good. I think that's about it. I just want to talk about that. Oh yeah, I want to talk about one other thing, and this is off that subject, but it's an idea that we should keep throughout this process. It's the idea also of allostasis. So one of the classic things we've probably all heard of in high school or junior high school biology is the idea of homeostasis, and the idea that our body essentially creates these chemical balances in order to keep our body within a certain range of health. And for the most part, what was described, at least for me, was the idea of pH, right? It's a pH balance and your body maintains homeostasis. So it's right in that kind of perfect range. It's always a little bit back and forth, but it's that perfect range. Allostasis is a lot of the same idea, but that idea is more, for want of a better term, global or holistic. Because it takes into account the entire body and also mindset. So, as an example, allostasis, homeostasis would look at it like my pH is off, so my body does specific responses in order to balance my pH. Allostasis looks at it more like, okay, my pH is off. So not only do those chemical changes start happening, but besides the chemical changes, thoughts happen. So I might even think to myself, hey, I remember that restaurant that I really liked, that time with my wife, and we went there and we had this really great meal, and I really want to have that meal again. And in my head, I think this is an independent thought. I just had a really great memory, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go get this meal. But this could be part of allostasis. This could be part of the fact that something within that meal would help my body to balance the pH. So that thought pops up in my head. I think it's conscious Dorian deciding that's where I'm going to go, and I really want to go to this place and hang out with my wife and have some wine, have that meal, enjoy myself. But it's really that drive from inside. So it's understanding that sometimes the thoughts and behaviors we have that we think seem aberrant or we're trying to control and we can never really control might actually be part of an allostatic process within our body in order to balance and bring ourselves back to whatever we need to maintain homeostasis. So allostasis is all the behaviors that we might engage in the process of homeostasis. And it's important to keep in mind just because you'll see examples of allostasis throughout our discussions. Okay, that's it. Today's a short one. Have a good day.